People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, folks. I got a video pulled up here. I think I actually reacted to one of these videos from this gentleman as well too. His name is Jen over on YouTube, where he titles the video, "Why Women Are No Longer Having Kids." Very interesting topic. Of course, again, popular topic within the millennials and Gen Z ecosystem, I guess, essentially. So let's get into it. I may not watch the full thing. It looks like it's a full video, 23 minutes long. Of course, we'll watch a little bit of this video, get the context, get a little bit of the commentary from the guests that seem to be on this video as well too. I'll share my thoughts. I encourage you guys to share your thoughts down in the comment section below as well. Let's get into it.
Why do you think a lot of young people aren't having kids?
Honestly, selfishness.
I've never ever wanted kids. It's a little bit selfish.
I feel like I just can't dedicate the time.
I gotta find the right lady first.
Do you think motherhood is looked down upon?
I think relationships do break from motherhood.
Having a feminine role in a family is looked down upon. You're a boss, bitch. You don't need no dude.
I think it's more of the women that are not wanting to have kids than it is men.
I'm actually going through a breakup right now.
Birth rates are at historic lows and everybody thinks they know why. They blame feminism, degeneracy to rising costs, but I think everybody has gotten it wrong. So I'll tell you what I think, but let's also explore what the solution is to support an increasingly aging population. Because is the answer in immigration, or is the future about to get a whole lot weirder? To find out, I talked to some pretty unexpected people. A sperm donor and a woman who just used one.
I didn't feel like I need to go through a partner just to have a baby. I wanted to be a single mother.
But first, let's hit the streets.
Do you want kids?
No.
Why?
I've never ever wanted kids ever since I was little. People kept repeating to me, "Oh, you'll change your mind, you'll change your mind." Guess what? I'm almost 30, still haven't changed my mind. They cost a lot of money. The economy is and honestly, it's also like I feel always so excited to travel and do all these things. It just makes it so hard.
Yes.
Why?
I want to give them the life that I didn't have as a child. I grew up with a single parent, my mom raising me. It was a very toxic household, and I didn't get the love that I think I deserve, so I really want to give that to my kids, which is why dating is so important to me.
How's that going for you so far?
Horrible.
I'm actually going through a breakup right now.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want kids?
Yes, I believe in God and Jesus, and he tells us to repopulate the earth. I also think there's a growing trend of people who don't want kids because they think that kids are destroying the planet, that we're overpopulated. I don't think that's true. The destroying of the family unit is so prevalent in every scope of society right now that it's almost rebellious to want to have kids.
How many kids do you want?
I want at least 4.
4?
At least
Damn.
I would want to bring kids into the world in an environment where both parents want children. And so for me personally, my wife doesn't want kids. And so that wouldn't be a good environment to bring a kid into, so it doesn't really matter to me.
I do want kids.
Why is that?
I feel like it's kind of like a legacy thing. As you know, I'm in my late 20s now, and it's not something I want tomorrow, but you start to think into the future and your life and just long term, and I feel like you can only leave so much of a legacy without having kids.
What do you think's stopping you from having kids right now then?
I gotta find the right lady first.
Let's pause it right there. So I think that's enough analysis that we could gather from this video. Of course, again, the video is titled "Why Women Are No Longer Having Kids." Shout out to Jen. I'll be sure to leave the full link to that video if you want to check it out down in the description of this video. Here's my thoughts, folks. Of course, I've spoke on this before as well too. I've spoken on this for some years in terms of just my whole thought on childbearing. I'm going to, again, I see this title. The title jumped out to me. Of course, it piqued my interest because, of course, being at my age as well too, this is a conversation a lot of my peers who have maybe already had kids or still think about kids. This is a hot topic amongst us millennials. My thoughts have been and are still this, folks, when it comes to this whole situation. When it comes to this generation having children, in my personal opinion, I personally, myself, I'll speak for myself, I personally do not want to have children. This isn't something that I just thought of just yesterday. This isn't me following a trend. This isn't me, watching too much TikToks, this and the other. This has actually been a thought that I've had well over a decade now. To be completely honest, I think I've had this stance for at least a decade, a minimum. So again, I'm 35 now. I'll be 36, God willing, in April. So the reasons why I don't want to have kids were actually voiced in this video as well too. Of course, there was a lot of different people. Of course, you heard some of the reasons why some people do want to have kids, why some people don't. Some people mentioned wanting to start have a legacy. Some people mentioned, hey, I want to, give my kids the life I never got to have. And you heard some people say, no, I don't want to have kids. The economy is shitty. This, that, and the other, overpopulation, this, that, and the other. And all those are reasons that are all valid, to be completely honest, for both wanting to have kids and not wanting to have kids. In my personal opinion, I'm speaking for myself now personally. In my life currently right now, there's more reasons than one as to why I don't want to have kids. I'll name a few. One, primarily, I think, which is the top reason, is that I am somebody who deems themselves as anti-natalist. This was a term I learned maybe a few years ago, 2-3 years ago. Anti-natalism. Anti-natalism, for those that don't know, is the belief that it is inherently or morally wrong to bring children into a world that you are consciously aware is showing signs of destruction, which I think is the current status of our current society at this moment. So when I learned that, I remember when I learned what anti-natalism was, I was like, oh, so there's a name for it. I didn't know there was a name for it. I didn't know there was a name to describe what I've been feeling for some time now, for some years prior to that. So this is like, oh, so there is a name for feeling like this world is too shitty to bring another human into this world. I say this stance, and of course, because of course I'm going to touch on both sides, of course, as I usually do, but I'm telling you guys my stance and my thinking, at least in my current day thoughts as of today. I do believe that this world is not conducive to bring in another human being. All things considered, bring in our economy, bring in all this the new wave of confusion, for lack of a better word, the new wave of confusion that's being spread through our media, our music, our movies, people on social media, this, that, and the other. The world doesn't seem straight right now. There's a lot of confusion. The world is a circus right now. So for me, it seems strange to be aware of all the things. I know my gripes with the world, right? So I know my gripes. I express my gripes with the world and our society every day with y'all when I upload these videos. So it's like, you know why I have my reasons why I don't want to be here, or why I think this world is shitty. Like, it's a shitty place. So for me, knowing that I have my disdain for this world, it just seems weird to me to want to bring somebody in. It's like, no. It's like, and I use this analogy all the time as well too. It's like being at a crappy house party. It's like being at a house party that all types of shit is going on. You got people doing whatever they're doing on this side. You have all types of different characters within this house party. And then the police are on their way, or if they're not already here, they're knocking on the door. There's a fire over here. There's a circus over here. There's people stealing over here. There's people. It's just like it's a weird realm. And it's like bringing a kid is just like calling a friend, like, hey man, come join me in this house party. Come, I'm inviting you. Come join me here. Wouldn't you be upset if I was at a shitty house party and I invited you out your house, out of the comfort of your own home? You're minding your business, you're chilling, and I invite you. I implore you, hey man, come to this party, come to this party, come to this party, and then I invite you to this party, and you see it's a shithole. Wouldn't you be mad at me? You would feel away like, damn, bro, why did you bring me? You knew this party was no good. So you see the analogy. So me knowing that this world is a disastrous place, and then people are, yo, man, it's all how you look at it, man. There's some beautiful things still in our world. You got to focus on the beautiful things in our world. It's kind of hard from where I'm sitting. This is keep it real, man. It's kind of hard for me to see the beauty in the world and want to consciously bring in another human into a world that I think is decaying. I say this all the time. This is if you're new to this channel, maybe you're not aware, but I've been saying this for some years. I honestly believe society will collapse within the next 5 to 10 years. I've been saying that. I'm going to keep saying it. I wholeheartedly, I'm not even joking. Like I'm sure in my mind, I am 100% sure. Like I can't be swayed otherwise. I think society collapses anywhere from 2025 to 2030 or from 2030 to 2035. We're not going to make it beyond 2035 at the rate at which the world is declining, in my personal opinion. So back to this whole point, man, I'm passionate about this topic, man, so I might go in a little bit. Bear with me. I think ultimately people should have the right to decide what they want to do. Having a kid is not like getting a dog. I think people act as if like, oh, man, do I want to get a dog? Should we get a dog? Should we get a cat now for the house? Nah, bro, this is another human we're talking about. So I think people have the right to use discretion when making such a decision. I don't think having a kid is something you can do off of somebody wanting you to do it. Like, I think there's a lot of people that fall victim to wanting to have kids solely because they feel like society is the thing that society told them to do. or that their family members told them to do, or that your friends are doing. Oh, my friends are getting married and having kids, so I want to have kids too. I don't think that's a valid reason. Even the one reason that the one girl said, oh, I want to give the kid the life that I never had. Like, there's so much to be a human. It takes so much. You gotta first put yourself in these are not the pros and cons. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody. I'm not telling people to think how I think, but you guys are assuming that the birth is gonna go smoothly. Your kid is gonna come out healthy. Your kid is gonna be an upstanding citizen of society, because let's understand that all these school shooters and all these corrupt politicians, and these were all kids at one point as well too. I'm sure their parents didn't think that their kid would be the one that would cause such harm to society. So you would have to assume that, oh, I'm gonna raise my kid. Even the people that claim that they raise a kid right, your kid could go left. Your kid might not go right. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a gamble. So like, yeah, your kid could come out and maybe be the next president, or your kid could come out and be a serial killer. So all this, oh, I'm leaving behind a legacy, that's assuming that your kid is gonna come out and be a decent kid. So it's like, it's a gamble. So I never see why people speak so definitively on, oh, I want to have a kid and I want to dress it up and it's going to look like me. We're going to have tea parties and I'm going to send them off to this school. That's assuming that the kid is aligned with what you got going on. And ultimately, I think that God has that slated for you. We don't even want to get in terms of generational curses and this, that, and the other. Some of y'all have a lineage of just destruction in your family. So this eagerness to bring in more children, I'm a little bit confused on, in my personal opinion. However, I'm going to play both sides of the field. Do I think the foundation of family is a beautiful thing? Yes, man. Honestly, I'm not even going to lie. As of late, I've been trying to limit my time on Instagram. I feel like it's just a waste of time. But of course, on Instagram is where I have a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends that I've grown up with, went to high school, this and that. And I will admit, there is an element of me that does admire seeing my friends and their children. Not like, oh, sad, like, no. But it's like, I like seeing like, oh, damn, like, I like seeing parenthood. I think parenthood fits some of my colleagues well. So to have your own upbringing with certain friends and then you see them have kids, it's like, damn, that's what's up, man. Like, I'm proud. Like, please don't get this misconstrued. Like, all my friends, all my colleagues, people that I know that have families, I don't think anything less of you, right? Like, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think the foundation, again, I think the best duo I've ever seen is man and woman. And I do think things like marriage, where we're talking about having kids, I think it's best under the institution of God, marriage, and the household. I think kids should be raised in a two-parent household. I believe in all of that. So, like, the concept sounds good, but the circumstances of what it takes to be a human in our current world today, it's a bit of a gamble for me personally. I'm sure there's people right now that have kids, and look at us folks that don't have kids, is like, oh, man, they're lucky. They get to live their lives and this, that, and the other. Oh, man, they get all the time. They come home to a quiet home. They don't hear no this, that, and the other. They don't got to worry about a sick kid, parent-teacher conference. Like, there's a lot of things that some would argue are good for us people who not have kids. And then on the flip side of that, I know that there's single people with no kids who look at people with kids and with envy and resentment as well too. Like, damn, they sure look happy in their, Christmas pajamas and this, that, and the other. So I think both sides kind of envy both sides, to be completely honest. I think the people that do have kids, 2, 3, 4 kids, what are the cases, however old, whether they're young, old, what are the cases, like, it's almost like lifestyle envy. I'll be saying this, man. Lifestyle envy is a thing. Lifestyle envy is a thing. So you'll have people that just envy the idea that you have a happy family and your kids are good and they look like you and you get to dress them up and this, that, and the other. There's beautiful elements of having children. Don't get me wrong. You understand? But I think we should stop pigeonholing people and frowning upon people that don't want to have kids. And us people that don't have kids, we shouldn't look down on anybody that does have kids. I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, from where I'm sitting and looking at this world, now ain't the time for me personally. And again, speaking personally as well too, speaking for myself, like, I feel like if I was to have kids, it was something I would have wanted to do by now. And again, of course, there's your timing, there's God's timing, of course, whatever the case is. So if I was in charge of my own timeline, which of course, if we have free will, I'm assuming that I have some type of allegiance over my own trajectory. So it's just like, if I was gonna have kids, I would have wanted them to be here by now. Again, I'm 35, almost 36. I feel like the ideal time I personally would have wanted to have kids. I'm not saying this is when everybody should have kids, but I think the ideal time when I would have wanted to have kids would have been between the window of like 28 to 30. Between the ages of 28 and 30, that's when I would have wanted at least my firstborn to have been here. So I'm behind schedule by that timeline. So for me to be 35, 36, and of course they'll say, oh, but you're a man. Men can have children as late as the end. I get all of that. I hear all of that, man. But like, just for the fact that my personal development in terms of just my career, in terms of because again, there's a lot of things that goes into having children. Where are you at in your career? Where are you at mentally? Where are you at spiritually? Where are you at physically? So the fact that it's taken me 35, 36 years to get my shit together, let's just keep it real. Kids don't seem conducive to my lifestyle as of now. I'm just now getting my footing, and I'm still have a lot more to go, of course, you know, with careers and this, that, and the other. So it's just like, we can't treat kids as if it's something like, oh, do I want to get a dog? Should we get a dog for the house? Like, it's not, we're not talking about pets here. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about other humans. And we're talking about bringing them into the realm that you as an adult can admit is a shitty place. There's not one adult right now that I know that's observing the world around them and not a little bit concerned. The economy is trash. The politicians are lying. The media is lying. The food is poison. The air is poison. There's drones flying around in the sky and nobody knows what's going on. They're talking about aliens. They're talking about another pandemic. They're talking about so many things, and you think now is the conducive time for me. Let's bring in little Billy to continue our legacy. It's a little bit selfish. And that goes into the whole antinatalism thing as well, too. You can throw the word selfish into that situation when you start talking about you. Like, oh, I want a kid so I can extend my legacy. I want a kid because I want to dress it up for it to look like me. I want a kid so I can put them through, like, me. What about the well-being? Are you even in the right mindset? Are you financially, spiritually, mentally able to bring in another human, or you just want to bring it in to dress it up so it can look like you and dress up on Christmas and this, that? It's like, what are we talking about? You see what I'm saying? So again, man, those are just my thoughts. Of course, I'm very passionate about this topic, man, because again, it's a very, when you get around this age, mid to late 30s, whatever the case is, of course, these are things that your family starts to worry about. I know my mom will watch this and be upset because she still, of course, wants me to have children. I feel like that's the aspirations of a lot of mothers out there in the world. Of course, you want to be a grandparent or a great-grandparent. You want to see your kids have kids one day as well, too. But you can't make decisions off of what other people want. It's me that's got to take care of the kid. It's me that's got to pay for the kid. It's me that's got to take the kid to the doctor. It's me that has to go to the parent-teacher conference. It's me that has to set up play dates. It's me that's got to make sure I'm in the kid's life. And that's the thing as well, too. Being a parent is a full-time job, and I'll close on this. Being that I'm somebody right now that's still like diligently working towards establishing myself in my career and my life trajectory as well, too. Being a parent is a full-time job. So round of applause for all the people that are parents. If you're somebody right now that has the title of mother or father, I'm giving you a round of applause, because from what I've seen from the outside looking in, it is a full-time job. Even when your kids are grown, people will say, oh, when your kids are 18, 19, they're a little bit more independent. Even then, man, that's a part of you. That's an extension of you. It's like, I saw somebody once describe your kid as like a walking heartbeat. Your kid is like your limb. So it's like, of course, being a parent is a full-time job. And I feel like if I want to take on the role of being a dad, I want to give it my all. I want to be the best. I want to be the best at everything I do, essentially. So when it comes time to be a dad, I want to be the best. So that means I want to be involved. I need to be mentally stable. I need to be financially stable if I want to be the best dad I could possibly be. And life is making it a little bit hard for me to do so. It's enough on my plate right now to fend for myself. Don't think single people without kids are living it up. Please understand, I always see things on social media as well, too, like, oh, what do single people do? How are single people broke? How are single people complaining about this, that, and the other? What? It's just as hard for myself. Like, I'm having enough of a time by myself, making sure that all is well mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Like, it's a lot goes into being a participant in this game called life. So please, let's not thrust children upon people who are just trying to figure things out, who are weighing their situation and making the best decision for themselves. Don't we all have that right? I think we all have that right. I think we all have a right to make a decision without being looked upon by other people, family members, colleagues, and this and the other as strange. You have the right to make a decision that's best suited for you and your lifestyle. Please, let's stop trying to make people feel less than for their life decisions that don't apply to your life decisions. It's okay. Everybody doesn't need to have kids. Everybody doesn't need to go to college. Everybody doesn't need to get married. We do understand that, right? Let's stop thrusting these ideologies upon people as if it's something that's mandatory. There's people on this planet that will die single. There's people on this planet that will die without having kids. There's people on this planet that will die without going to college. And I'm sure all of them can argue and say they've lived a pretty decent life. Fulfillment looks different for a lot of different people. So if fulfillment looks like for you to go out there and get married, have kids, do it. Be fulfilled. I'm a champion of that. If fulfillment looks like family for you, do it. But for other people, for those of us, myself included, if you can still obtain your own personal level of fulfillment and it doesn't include children or marriage or any of these institutional ideas that society thrusts upon us, that's okay too, is the point I'm trying to make. Those are my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. What do you make of this? Why are women in this younger generation not having children? Do you have children? Millennials, Gen Z, holla at me, man. For those of you that are parents, for those of you who are not, if you're watching this video, what are your thoughts on our generation in particular having children? Are you open up to the idea of being a parent one day? Are you looking forward to it? Are you a little bit worried about how our social economic status is here in this country? Share your thoughts. Of course, I want to hear it down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you on the next one.